So this just in, Chuck Schumer has spoken to Joe Biden and told him to get out of the race. That is gigantic. He is the leader of the Democrats in the Senate, of course, the Senate Majority Leader. And it turns out Hakeem Jeffries, the leader of the Democrats in the House, has also said the same thing to Joe Biden. They have not said it publicly like Adam Schiff has. Adam Schiff, one of the better known congressmen on the Democratic side, was part of the Trump impeachment team running for Senate in California. But Schumer and Jeffries apparently have spoken to Biden and told him, you've got to go. And that is what we were all waiting for. Congressional leaders to make up their mind, go talk to the president. And at the same time, the president has now just declared that he has COVID and needs to withdraw for a couple of days to get better. Now, maybe that's true. Yeah, I said it. I mean, Joe Biden has lied about a lot of things recently. So I don't even know if that's true, but I'm gonna give you the statement in a second. But first, let me give you the quotes from ABC News. Quote from Jonathan Karl. Schumer forcefully made the case that it would be better for Biden, better for the Democratic Party, and better for the country if he were to bow out. So no lack of clarity there. Schumer saying, Joe, you gotta go. And so this is a Nixon-like moment when the Republican leaders in Congress walked to the White House under Richard Nixon and said, you're not gonna make it. Not only have you been impeached, but you're going to be convicted. So better to go now. And so now Schumer apparently telling the president, you gotta go because you're not gonna make it either way. And so now there's been no denial from Schumer's team, which is another giant factor here. So it's one thing when a news outlet reports something, they're usually in mainstream media relatively careful. That's one of the things they're good at. You see me criticizing them all the time, but they're very careful when they have these sources and how to reveal them. Oftentimes they're self-serving, the sources, but not in this case. And in this case, if it was a wrong report, Schumer's team would have roared back, oh, that is not true at all, that is outrageous, etc. And they have not said that, so it appears that it is true. And the senator's office said, and this is amazing, quote, and it's gonna might sound a little bit benign to you, but in political speak, this is a heavy blow. Leader Schumer, this is the senator's office, in a quote to ABC. Leader Schumer conveyed the views of his caucus. So not only do they not deny the report that he's asking Joe Biden to drop out, but they're saying he speaks for the entire Democratic caucus in the Senate. This thing is over. It's totally over now. So let me give you more. Apparently, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries also made similar statements, quote, directly to the president. So now, if Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer, the two leading Democrats representing the Democrats in the House and the Democrats in the Senate, said this publicly, it would be beyond over. But that would be humiliating for Joe Biden. So they have done what they needed to do. They made a decision, the caucus is in the House and the Senate for the Democrats, and they've decided Joe Biden can no longer stay. And they have communicated that to the president. So this now we're just basically maybe even hours away, but certainly at most days away from Joe Biden stepping down. So that leads us to the COVID announcement. On X, Biden's account says, I tested positive for COVID-19 this afternoon, but I'm feeling good and thank everyone for the well wishes. I will be isolating as I recover. And during this time, I will continue to work to get the job done for the American people. So it might be true and it might not, but it is that he has COVID. But the bottom line is he gets to isolate for a couple of days while he thinks through, what am I gonna do now? Because now we're in a dead end. And so I've been calling the people that were still advocating for Biden dead enders. Well,
I'm sure they love that.
Yeah, but that's true, and I told you, and here we are. And now we're at the end of that cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what Biden has left to consider other than when and how to get out. But he cannot define all of the Democrats in Congress and say, I don't care if you don't support me, I'm gonna run anyway. Because if you thought it was gonna be a landslide before, that would be the most epic landslide that ever happened.
Yeah, I would only amend that to say I don't think he realistically could defy them, but if he just decides, I am an incredibly stubborn old guy and how dare you make me look bad in public, so I'm just never gonna leave. He could in theory do that. I do think the COVID announcement is really interesting. I assume that he has COVID. It would be convenient to say that you do so that you don't have to do any interviews and you have a few days to just let the story hopefully die down. But also, if you were to decide, I need the best possible way to get out that doesn't make me look like all of what I've been saying for the past few weeks is absolute nonsense and allows me to bow out gracefully. What if the COVID takes a turn for the worse? And I'm feeling really sick. There's no way that I can campaign in this condition. It's just a reminder to me that I'm not a young man, and so I'm gonna bow down and let a younger, more vigorous, and healthy candidate run or something. Like it could potentially be used in that way. But anyway, I was gonna ask you what percentage chance you think. You think it's 98?
No, it's not 98. Yeah, it's 100% that he's gonna drop out. 100%.
I can't wait to see it. The only other thing I would add is I know that there's a percentage of the audience, and definitely my audience, that does not like anybody talking about him potentially dropping out. And I totally understand that, totally understand. I would just say, the polling that I saw today indicated that regular Democrats, when you poll them, 2 out of 3 say he should step down. And so like we can disagree about that, and you can argue forcefully for why he should be the candidate and why things will turn around and he can still get it done and all that. But I feel like those who've been encouraging him to step down have been made to feel radical in this. And we are not. It is a very healthy majority that's represented by the commentary that we're providing.
No, look, you can get mad at me for calling folks dead enders, okay? But guys, what I was trying to do is snap you out of it. Because what I was telling you is, based on our expertise, we're not making this up, he has almost no chance of winning. Why do you want to stick with someone who has almost no chance of winning? I know you don't believe me, but his inside White House administration officials leaked that they thought he had a quote near 0% chance of winning. That's his most inner core. Actually, to be fair, not the most inner core, not the chief of staff, etc., but the ring right outside of that. Okay, but people were very, very familiar with the numbers, the polling, President Biden, his current status, and they said near 0. Every pollster says near 0. So it's not about who's right and who's wrong. If you say, hey, we should stick with Biden, no matter what, even if he loses, even if the chances are near 0, okay, everybody's got an opinion, okay? But that's just saying, I don't mind Trump winning. And at this point, now, Chuck Schumer and Jeffries and their entire caucuses, both all the senators and all the congressmen that are Democrats have said Joe Biden's gotta go. Do you think they're all wrong?
And these are all people, Pelosi and Obama,
and these are all people who worshiped Joe Biden. Yeah. I didn't worship Joe Biden, but they did. And they're saying, no, it's over. You gotta go. Guys, this means he is gone. It's not 98%, it's 100%. So I want you to get excited, not because Joe Biden's leaving. At this point, now that the die is cast, I'm happy to say, hey, President Biden, thank you for your service. And look, I don't think his record was anywhere near as good as other people think it is, but he got some bills passed. And the infrastructure bill has a lot of issues, but it does provide internet for a lot of people who didn't get it. It does have funding for highways, et cetera, et cetera. There's a semiconductor bill. I've had my issues with it, but it is an important industry. The COVID relief bill in the beginning was good. And most importantly, the climate change legislation was really important.
Sure, yeah.
And we appreciate that. So thank you for your service, President Biden. But now I need you to get excited about a new ticket. We're gonna get a new ticket. It's over. The Democrats are going to have a vibrant, young ticket that is going to take on Donald Trump and instantly pick up about 10 points. We're back in the race. Before, it was no chance of beating Donald Trump. Now, depending on who they pick, they're instantly gonna go from massive underdog to favorite. The Democrats are gonna be the favorites again. I think you should be incredibly happy about this news.
Yes, and I love the enthusiasm and the energy. It's very exciting. I'm not quite as sure that he's going to step down. I think it's
100%. I would bet you any amount of money.
Let me give you some credit. You cut me off before I give you credit.
Sorry.
This is of the developments that could indicate that it's very likely to happen. These are about as significant as they could be. I mean, what we've been waiting for is the group to walk over and tell him. And I think that other than like Jill Biden indicating that she's trying to get him to drop out, I think this is about as significant as it could be. I don't know that I necessarily think that it's going to swing it 10 points or anything, but I think it totally could swing it by 5 points. I think it could swing it by 6. I think you will see an immediate polling advantage, not only for the general election and the presidential nomination, the presidential ticket standing in the battleground states, but also in the Senate races. And apparently, that was one of the key things that Chuck Schumer stressed in the meeting with Biden is our candidates are being dragged down. We have the polling data. And so I still think everybody needs to get ready. Let's say we get past this process and it's unprecedented. There are waters that we haven't treaded before. It's still gonna be a campaign. We're still gonna have to fight. There's still lingering concerns over prices. Like any Democrat is going to have to defend Biden's record. They're not gonna have it tied to them in the same way that Joe Biden did. Or that Harris kind of will. It's still gonna be a campaign, but it's a campaign that we have a definite fighting chance in. And so I know there's some people that are probably super mad at us and super mad at the Democrats and everything, but I really do think that these are very, very positive developments.
Look, I love you guys, but I don't know why you would be mad at trying to win an election. It's madness, but it doesn't matter. Joe Biden had no chance.
Some people don't trust the polls, and some people really like Joe Biden. They might have supported.
Okay, all right. If you love Joe, if you love Joe Biden, okay. But Michael Schumer, I don't know that anybody loves Joe Biden more than Michael Schumer, and even he thinks he had to go, right? Because he doesn't want to lose to Trump.
Yeah.
Okay, so look now. Last thing about Biden, and then I want to talk about the future for one more minute. So earlier today, we reported to you guys that Joe Biden all of a sudden changed his messaging. And he didn't say, oh, I won't go on unless the Almighty comes down, et cetera. He said, well, if a medical condition were to arise. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I did see that.
Okay, that's a giant difference. And we shared that with you guys earlier. And he said, look, I was always meant to be a transitional president. Okay, well, that's what we were saying, right? And he was like,
well, that's what he was saying.
Yeah, and he had denied that that meant one term. He kept insisting, his team kept insisting that, yeah, we transitioned through 2 terms in 8 years. Well, that's not a transition, that's just being a 2-term president, right? But today, Biden made a reference to 1 term and transition. So this thing's over.
Yeah.
And even Bernie, who has been, in my opinion, unfortunately, his biggest advocate, today would not answer whether Biden was going to be able to finish his 2nd term. So,
yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah, and that's probably because he already knew what had happened in the caucus and that Schumer was going to go speak to Biden today.
Yeah.
So over.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.